What's up, people? I'm back again for part two. So where did we leave off? Yeah, so the girl at the gas station, right? Yeah, it was sad. It was sad to see because I was in the car with the younger guys at the time. We were going to a club up in London. But yeah, it was sad. It really was sad to see that. So the second type would be, or the third type, shall I say, is those that basically flood their community with hard drugs. And again, this what I'm saying to you is debatable because weed is in my eyes, to be honest with you, I do not agree with weed. Um, I think that there's people out there that have parents, grandparents, whatever, with mental health, and this mental health is laying dormant in them, and all it takes is one pull on a weed or joint or whatever, marijuana, and they go into they develop psychosis. You know, all kinds of things can go wrong after that point in time. You know, so me personally, I'm not a big fan of the whole marijuana thing, but at the same time, yeah, I say more people probably do walk out on the road and commit more crimes on alcohol, which can be kind of the same as marijuana. I mean, me personally, if you want me to be honest with you, um, alcohol. When I drink alcohol, I'm the most nicest guy you'll ever come across in the world. Most talkative guy, most smiling guy. So weed is a bit debatable, but but get back to what I was saying anyway. People that flood their community really with drugs. I would say more or less the hard stuff. I wouldn't say the weak stuff. I'd say stuff that someone's going to be robbing and stealing and selling themselves for. So I'm trying to say, no one's really going to sell themselves for marijuana. It's just not going to happen. So I'm trying to say to you. The fourth example of a major sellout is children, man. Don't do anything wrong with children. Don't sexually exploit them. Don't abuse them. Don't get me wrong, there are some kids out there, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to explain it. Basically, I was beat as a child, and I don't think that's the best way of going about things, is beating your child when they're wrong. It's not. In fact, it's a subject I can't even get into when it comes to discipline your child. I can't get into that because I don't know. I've seen kids today where they're just so rude and disrespectful, and the first thing that comes into my mind is, maybe I've been conditioned that way. Is they need a good slap. Basically, it's the best way to put it to you. But children, I think that there's certain people out there. For example, I watched a program in America where there was these kind of like pimps, and they would look for runaway teenagers, sometimes 13, 12, and they would be really friendly to them, but to befriend them, pretend to be their best friends, and then they would take them to a hotel room, and there'd be three guys waiting in the hotel room, and they would have these children being raped. Those who participate in those things as well, again, you're on the same level as a major sellout. What else? So anything to do with exploiting children. You've got children going out there selling drugs. You've got children going out there stealing for you. Anything to do with kids. And even the Bible tells you straight about that. Don't mess with the children. What's that saying in the Bible? Something similar to, because basically there was some sort of story in the Bible where everyone was trying to see Jesus Christ, and they were preventing the children from coming. And he said, look, don't prevent them from coming, let them come, because the kingdom of God belongs to such as these. Those who do not enter the kingdom of God like a child will never see it. So he was saying basically that children are angels. Now there are some kids out there where it doesn't make a difference what upbringing they've had, because some people want to say, well, every child's an angel. I don't really believe that. I think some children, they're just sent to this world with a bit of evilness in them, really. But generally, children are angels, and it's the environment, the community around them that shapes them and forms them. So the fourth example I will use is anything to do with children. Those four examples, you're a major sellout if you touch any of those kind of things. You know, basically the major sellout is affecting people on a grand scale or affecting children. So either you're sacrificing your happiness, your wealth for 10, 15, 20, 40 millions of people, you know, or even one child. That's a major sellout. And then you have kind of the sellouts, which is in the second category, which is people that will kind of, you know, and I don't want to be harsh here, I don't want to be harsh, but I have to be real about it. You know, certain friends, certain people, shall I say, because it's not about my friends. It's not about my friends. It's about people. You know, I'm not hating on anyone really. I'm just telling you how I feel. You know, I think that if I went to a club and some girl is flirting with me and she's kissing me, and then midway she tells me, "Oh, by the way, I got a boyfriend," unless I'm heavily intoxicated, then I'm gonna say, you should have really told me about that in the beginning, to be honest with you, because I wouldn't have went anywhere near you. And maybe if I was really desperate, which I have been, believe me, I've been there. You know, no fap. Trust me, I've been desperate. I still, you know, even as I sit down here, I'm desperate, but not desperate to the point where I'm walking around with a bone all the time. But you know, just mentally frustrated. But yeah, so with that particular woman in the bar, I might, if she had a boyfriend, would I, maybe that if I was heavily intoxicated and something happened that night, but I'd wake up the next day and I know for a fact I'd feel guilty and I'd think, you know, I have to lock this girl off. She'd be locked off, basically. But imagine if I went to a bar and the woman was married. You know, it's not a major sellout, but trust me, you're a sellout. Yeah, you're a sellout. Not someone that. It's someone I'd have to be very wary of. I'd have to be very wary of. You know, another example would be. Imagine that you're at a party and someone's slagging off a friend of yours, and your friend hasn't arrived, but you stick up and you say, "Well, no, listen, don't say those things about my friend. What are you talking about, bruv? You know, what are you saying? Listen, don't disrespect my friend like that, yeah." And maybe that friend turns up an hour later, and you know you're not there to cause drama, so you don't even mention it. You've already put the friends in their place. You're having a good time, but what it is that maybe there's more attention on you at that party. You're having a good time, and there's a little bit more attention on you, and then the same friend that you stood up for sees that attention. You know, maybe gets jealous of it, and then maybe starts to poke little holes at you. You know, maybe starts to bring up things personal in front of a crowd of people to try and put you down, and you realize that, wait a minute here, this is a sellout. You know. But what it is, I think sometimes with us as people, is that we get so used to it because we've known the person for a long time. We get used to it, you know, and we kind of just take it how it is. But I'm telling you how it is. That person's is a complete sellout, really. They're not a major sellout, but they're definitely a complete sellout. You know what I mean? Because it means that, you know, there was a beautiful picture on Facebook, and it was of a person sitting down on a stool, like I'm sitting down now, and basically they're having their friend there, and a friend is tying their shoes. So the friend is bent over, tying their shoes, and as the friend is bent over kneeling on the floor tying their shoes, this person has a knife. They're doing that as their friend is doing that. As their friend's tying their shoes, they're looking down, and I think that's the best picture to describe it. When you're out there risking your life, your heart and your soul for a friend, and that same friend is maybe jealous or envious of you and doesn't have the best intentions at heart. Now I'm not saying it's anyone I know, but I'm saying that I have had friends, I've heard stories, and occasionally one or two friends have done it with me, but I have clearly said, listen man, don't be behaving like a sellout, blah blah blah, and they've been put in their place. But it is a sellout, a complete sellout mentality. It's not something that real friends do. A third example of a complete seller, not a major, but a complete one, would be if you've got a partner. You know, I'll tell you a story. I'll go into a story of it. Imagine you went round to a friend's house. They've just had an argument with their partner. You think, oh, you say to your friend, is this the right time? And your friend says, oh, no, man, don't be silly, come in, man. Maybe you haven't seen the friend in a while. You go into the friend's house, you sit down, you're having drinks and everything else. No, sorry, no. Yeah, maybe you are having drinks. Maybe you had one drink. Maybe your friend says, damn, man, we run out of drinks. All right, we need to get some more drinks. We need to get some more drinks, man. Let me go down. I'm going to go down the road. We'll pop down the road. And you say, right, come, let's go. He says, no, relax, man. Sit back, chill. I'm only going to take, only be like 20 minutes at the most or whatever. And imagine that when that friend goes out the door, their partner, okay, now you could be a woman, it could be, you could be women and their partner's a man, or it could be your man and their partner's a woman. But let's assume that, you're a man and their partner's a woman, and you're left alone with that woman, and then all of a sudden the woman starts rubbing on your leg and all that kind of stuff. Now some people will debate and say, well, boy, I didn't really to be honest with you, we weren't really that close. You see what I'm trying to say? It's just someone that I knew, kind of thing. It's not like he was like a proper bona fide virgin. So I'm trying to say, you're a sellout, plain and simple. I'm telling you, you're a sellout, brother. Yeah, she's rubbing on your leg, and maybe you get some sort of, I don't know, oral comfort from her. Maybe you do anything with her, maybe, and it's not okay. Some guys will say, yeah, but she seduced me. Oh, if you saw how she looked, man, and this and that. It's not, it's, you're a sellout, plain and simple. I don't give a damn how desperate I am. And believe me, like I said, now, I am desperate, but not desperate in a way where I'd sell myself out. Never, especially over a woman, And I've had certain, when I was in counselling, it's funny because when I described some of these situations, the counsellor turned around and said, oh, are you gay? And I thought, gay? Sorry? Are you gay? It seems like you love men. I said, love men? No, I don't love men. I love myself. I've got respect and pride for myself. And I'm telling you, it would never happen. You know what I mean? So that's the second scenario. Even in the second scenario, maybe that she just rubs your leg or whatever, and a few days later, while that particular friend is working, you go back to the house and you have sex with her. You know what I mean? That's a sellout, brother. I try to explain to men out there, there's 3 billion women on the planet. There's no need to sell yourself out. No need. Which brings us on to, so we've done an example of the friend at the party. We've done the second example with this thing here. Another example, so what would be our last example of a complete sellout, really, would be work. Imagine you've gone out your way to get someone a job. You brought them into this job. It reminds me of the Rocky story, really. Remember Rocky, is it 5, with Tommy Gunn? And you've gone out of your way to get this person into work. They needed help, they desperately needed help, and you've gone out of your way to help them. You know what I mean? You really have. And they're in that role, and for some reason, how life is sometimes, they just happen to progress in that role better than you do. And then all of a sudden you're called into the room one day and you're told you're being fired, and it could even be over an accusation, and you're expecting your friend to stand up for you and say, blah blah blah, this happened or that happened, and they just don't. They don't. They end up you end up getting fired or whatever, and they end up taking your job. It may even be because they kind of, conspired against you to get your job. And then when you're in that same situation, that friend now even goes a step further and starts looking down on you. You could even describe that situation as in you broke up with your girlfriend. A friend was lonely or whatever. You brought him into your house, and you broke up with your girl, and then all of a sudden that same friend you hear is going round to your girlfriend's house, you know. Even if it is strictly, you know, is it platonic, like just normal friendship, I can't remember what the word is, it's still a sellout mentality. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, this is my second video. The last one's going to be on, you know, how we're all sellouts in a certain degree, to a certain degree. Simple sellouts, basically, how we all are. We all get involved in it. But I'll see you around for the last video, and peace out. Damn, this damn remote control. 1 minute, guys. Alright, peace.